Hey guys, San and Sarah here from Marital, and today we're bringing you another episode of Marital Money Mondays. And this very special episode, we're going to be talking about Financial Peace University. And if you guys don't know what Financial Peace University, basically it's Dave Ramsey's baby, where he talks about dumping debt, working with budgeting, and just anything money related is the program to take.
So basically, if you've never heard of Financial Peace University, it's a 9-week course you can take in person or online or with DVDs that takes you through every step of his system about the baby steps, Debt Snowball, Gazelle Intensity, and all those things that go along with Dave Ramsey. We took it even though we knew a lot about his program, but we wanted a more in-depth system with the steps laid out for us and a workbook and stuff that we could look back on. We just really wanted to start from square one, even though we knew all of his principles, and it's been very helpful to put it all together. So what we want to do is just take you guys through the system and what you get with the DVD course, and if we liked it, why we liked it, and that kind of thing as a review. And this video is meant for those of you who have heard of Dave Ramsey or haven't, but have never taken Financial Peace University, because we had heard about him and actually read Financial Peace University, the book, years ago, but still found it very important to take the class.
Right. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go through what came in the actual box itself. So first, obviously, you get the DVD series. I think there's like 4 or 5 DVDs with 9 lessons.
And just one thing to note, he recommends you take the class in person with a group, which is usually held at local churches in your area.
That's true.
And they will play these DVDs in the class, but you also have discussions with your group, and they'll hold you accountable. But since San's schedule's so messed up, he never has the same days off every week, he never has the same nights off every week, we just couldn't commit to that. So we did the DVD series, but we would have still done the DVD series even if we could have gone to the class, because then we have all the content there to rewatch later. And I just think that's very helpful. But since we bought the DVD version, we can go take the class in person at any time for free. So that's a really nice addition to this.
Next, we have the actual envelope system. I think it's in a leatherish wallet type of thing. And the envelope system is literally what it is. It's an envelope system. You put your groceries in one, gas money, what else? Dining out,
whatever.
Fun, whatever
it might
you
be different
want.
For every person.
The program goes into detail about what you actually want to make out of these envelopes. What's the smart way to go about it?
Next is the actual book. It's kind of like the book that goes along with the class. You're given homework, kind of like if you take a college class. You have the class and all that, but you also have the textbook. So this is the Complete Guide to Money. To be honest, we haven't really read much of it, because when we did, it was like just saying the exact same things the class did, but it'll be good to look back, and there probably is more stuff in here. It goes a little bit more in depth than the DVDs do.
And then one of the very important pieces of this kit is the workbook. There are a lot of references that they say that you can go online to check this out, you can go online to figure out this out. They mention this all over the place in this textbook, so it's easy to reference. So if you forget to go to find out your debt calculator or something like that, you can easily go find it in there, and it helps you, take notes, look back on things, and there's facts and figures on every side. Talks about it's great.
Yeah, it's really great. It helps you follow along too, because on the DVDs it actually gives you the answers to fill in, so it helps you pay attention too, which is really nice. And then lastly, it comes with this progress chart. We didn't really use it, but it'd be great to hang up like on your fridge, and you can check off like where you are in the course, and how much money you've like saved or paid off just during the time of the class. And then on the back, after the class is done, you can like mark where you are in the baby steps. Okay, any good review gives a really good overview of whatever it is, so we wanted to give you guys an overview of what each lesson is about, so you know exactly what the Financial Peace University talks about. So we're going to try to do this quickly. The very first lesson is all about super saving, and basically it's just to get you motivated and pumped up about what you can do if you save your money. And this is talking about investing and retirement and all that kind of stuff, and it gives examples of if you started at this age, how much would you retire with, versus if you waited even just 7 years or whatever and saved even more money, but you had a shorter amount of time to save, and how much less you will save. And it just gets you really pumped up and motivated, and I think it's a great foundation to the class.
And it's a solid intro to the course. It's so good. It got us just like fired up. So good.
and it doesn't go too in depth, so you're like, oh my gosh.
There's enough on the table for you to want more.
Yes.
So the next lesson is relating with money, where you find out your personality type and how you relate with money, so to speak. So we figured out that Sarah's a nerd. She likes to plan things, lay things out, have 1,000 bullet points to just one day.
I like budgeting,
and she likes budgeting
spreadsheets.
and just detailed plans. Whereas I'm the free spirit to kind of go with the flow, whatever, and roll with the punches as the day comes, I guess, like that. So that's where it's really important to figure that out, and this chapter will help you guys figure that out.
Yeah, and it helps you when you come to the budget meeting to know who's prepared what and what you're going to talk about. And it talks about why each person is important, no matter what your job is, no matter how much money you're bringing into the household.
Yes. In
a marriage, you should be equal, and you're a team, and you do this together. And if you're single, he also talks about how you should find an accountability partner and a lot about that. So don't think this only applies to you if you're married.
They also mention monthly budget meetings, monthly, weekly, daily, if it takes that.
Yeah.
So.
And it gives you like bullet points of exactly what to talk about, which is great. Mm-hmm. Lesson 3 is all about cash flow planning. This is where you really get into the meat and potatoes of the envelope system and what Dave Ramsey calls a zero-based budget, where you budget every single dollar you intend to make down to zero, so that every dollar has a name, no matter where it's going. Yep. And if you have extra, then it can go towards your goals, like paying off debt, saving for retirement, and that kind of thing. And so it really gives you the foundation.
Spontaneous spending too.
Yeah.
So that
but you can also build that into your budget.
Right.
Yeah, and it talks about that and blow money and all that kind of stuff. The 4th lesson is called Dumping Debt, and it highlights why you should get out of debt, what's the importance, and what you can do after. And it talks about Dave Ramsey's genius idea, I believe it was his idea, of the debt snowball, where you take all your debt totals of all your credit cards, anything but your house, and you put them in order of smallest to largest. You don't look at the interest rate, you don't look at what the minimum payments are, although normally the smallest debt has the smallest minimum payment, but sometimes not. Right. And then you try to pay them off in that order. So you dump all your money on the smallest one, pay that off. Then you take that minimum payment, let's say it was $50, and you take that $50 and you add it to your next biggest debt. And once that one's paid off, you take all that minimum payment plus the $50, and you keep going and you snowball it on, how you keep adding snow to a snowball and it gets bigger and bigger. And then let's say you were paying $1,500 towards debt at the very beginning of this program. By the end, when you get to the biggest debt, that's the only one left, you'll be putting $1,500 a month towards that because you've snowballed all the payments. And it really helps you stay motivated because you're paying them off. He talks about how, yes, people can pay off interest rates, the highest interest rate first, but he talks about how money is emotional, and you need to be so motivated and gazelle intense, like a gazelle running from a lion or cheetah or whatever, from a cheetah. Like a gazelle running from a cheetah who is not as fast but gets away because they're running for their life, and the cheetah's only running for the next meal, and they can always find a meal somewhere else, but the gazelle can't get a new life. So he talks about how you have to be that intense and emotional about it and hate debt so much that you're willing to just go crazy for it.
This is a really good part too.
Yeah, it was super motivating and wonderful.
So the next part is called Buyer Beware, and this one they talk about financing big purchases
and how you shouldn't
do that, and negotiating. And one of the things that he really discusses is using money to buy certain things. Like he mentioned, using cash, physical cash. So like, let's say there's a table for $400 and you think they're not going to budge on the $400. Well, if you walk in there with $350 cash and say,
show it to them,
you'd probably be able to get away with this at like mom and pop places, but who knows? We haven't tried it. We're kind of scared to negotiate, quite frankly. And we say, listen, I got $350 cash. I'll take that $400 table set or whatever off your hands. And 9 times out of 10 they probably won't say no because they know you're good for the money because you have it in their face.
But it also talks about how credit is like a big commodity. It's something people actually sell. And how and it really opens your eyes to that, and how kind of not evil, but I think debt is kind of evil, and how evil, there's a whole industry about credit and how people get sucked in, and they're really good at selling credit to people. So beware. That's why it says buyer beware. Beware of what they're doing. Know there's
tricks,
tactics and tricks to get you hooked, and that way when you go into making a big purchase, you know exactly what you're doing and what you're getting yourself into. Lesson 6 is the role of insurance. This was a wonderful, wonderful chapter. It really laid out what types of insurance you should have under any circumstances and why you should stay away from certain types of insurance under any circumstance. So this is really helpful to know exactly what things we should be building into our budget no matter where we are in the baby steps, and what things we should stay away from. Like whole life insurance, cancer and hospital indemnity, accidental debt insurance, and that kind of stuff. He lays it all out in this chapter, and it was really easy to follow, and I like that. Lesson 7 is all about retirement and college funding. So this is really about investing, and he walks you through, just like with the insurance, he walks you through what's a 401k, what are mutual funds, which we've heard about, but we never actually understood them in layman's terms. So he really explains it so well, tells you what to use in which situation. Even if you have a complicated situation, he really walks you through that, and it was very easy to understand. We're not to that point yet of like throwing all our money at this stuff, but when we are, we definitely have a better grasp of which things to use when. Lesson 8 is all about real estates and mortgages, and he basically walks you through, if you're going to buy a house, how much you should put down, what kind of loan to get, 15 years, what he recommends, and basically what kind of interest rate to look for and stuff like that. So it's very step by step of what you should do if you're at the point of being ready to buy a house and when you shouldn't buy a house.
And he also brings on, we forgot to mention, really awesome guest speakers in a couple of these courses. And he brings on a really awesome mortgage consultant guy right here.
Chris Hogan.
Yeah, he's really good at what and his message is very powerful in this course.
Yeah.
So the final course is called The Great Misunderstanding, and it is about building wealth and giving it all away. He's going to teach us in this chapter how to build our wealth. Make sure you go through all the baby steps. Make sure you have your emergency fund,
and all the
other ones. And then at the end, what do you do with all that? Well, you give a ton of it away. So in this next part of the video, we're going to talk about what we really liked about this program right away. It was so inspiring, guys. Like I said, in that very first course, it just gets your soul on fire to pay off debt, to get your emergency fund set up, just to set your future up for success, and to really rebuild your family tree. And you hear other people's stories and you hear other people's triumphs, and it's just so good.
We also really like that it was super eye-opening. He gives so many statistics about things that really just make you mad, make you happy, make you motivated to pay off debt. Like one statistic he gave was about college loans.
It was something, I don't know if this is accurate or not, but it's average student loan debt when they come out of college is $30 grand.
Yeah,
that's
which
insane.
Is crazy. And we had more than that each. Yeah. So, and then going into marriage at 22 with that much debt was not easy.
Right. And the next thing that really got us to really enjoy this is it's emotional. It pulls at your feelings. Like she said, it's maddening sometimes. I'm just sit there swearing out loud, angrily at certain parts because I'm I wasn't taught this. This is BS. I'm so mad. But it's good. It gets your heart on fire, and he wants you to be gazelle intense.
Yeah, he wants you to be angry about debt. He wants you to hate debt, and he does a really good job of doing that. And then what we really loved is that anyone can do this. It doesn't matter your background, your age, your health, your abilities, your skills, your poverty level or wealth level. It just doesn't matter. You start at whatever baby step you're at, and you follow the steps, and you will reach your financial goals. And it's just so easy, and we love that it's step by step.
And it's never too late to start, guys.
Right, and that's part of his message.
And what would be a video without saying what we didn't like about it? Now, there is very little that we didn't like about it, but honestly, the only thing we really didn't like about it is that the courses that they offer to take in person, to watch these DVDs with the groups of people to be accountable, aren't really in our area at this time.
Yeah, not a lot.
My pastor has mentioned that they want to try to set up something at our local church in town, but who knows if that's even going to happen.
Right.
So that's really the only downside that we saw.
And that may be different in your area.
Yeah,
it just
and maybe
depends on who wants to coordinate
in the bigger
it.
metropolitan areas are probably highly likely that they have classes going on.
That fit your schedule.
But we're in and less populated part of the state, so therefore we probably aren't a high priority on that list.
Yeah. And the only other thing that I didn't really like was in the lesson about mortgages and real estate, he talks about everything as though you're not a homeowner yet. And you're in debt and you're waiting, and then you're going to save up your 20%, get a 15-year mortgage. And what I was really waiting for was him to talk about, well, what if you're in debt and you have a mortgage and it's a 30-year, and what do you do? Like, should you refinance? When should you refinance? And that kind of stuff. I really wish he would have gone into more detail like he did in the other lessons to explain what you should do. So, but that's one area where he does talk about it on his radio show, podcast, YouTube, wherever you get your Dave Ramsey fix, and articles on his website. So he does have those resources. It just wasn't really in the Financial Peace University. So in conclusion, we think this is a wonderful program. We would recommend it to anyone, and we've talked about why already in this video. And honestly, if we could afford to and we had $150 laying around, we'd go to like every wedding and give this to people because we think it's that important.
Give it away. That'll be our form of give it away.
Right. So anyway, we really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let us know if you've done Financial Peace University, and if you haven't, if you have any questions for us who have taken it,
you guys liked, what you didn't like, what was different, what you would include, etc. We would love to know. And if
you're going to end up taking it now, let us know, because we would love to follow you along on the journey. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next Monday. Bye. Guys.